Hello. Hi, I'm Ruby, and welcome to the Ruby Room, where I help women navigate through the complexities of growth, relationships, and motherhood, specifically early motherhood. I am a wife, I am a mom to an awesome 10-month-old baby, and I just wanted to come on here and share some tips on the things that I did when my husband and I were trying to conceive our son, when we started our conception journey, and just my journey to motherhood, what I did before I conceived and what leading up to conception. And so I hope that these tips are helpful. Some of them may be redundant because you may have already heard them, and some might be new to you. So just give me a little bit of time and let me share some of the things that I did. So I'll just be sharing 5 different things that were really helpful in my journey to motherhood. Prior to even getting into those 5 things, I want to emphasize that I think it's really important to kind of start preparing your body before you even say, okay, we're going to start trying. That you and your spouse start saying, okay, we're going to start trying right now if you want to conceive naturally. I think it's important to maybe give yourself about 90 days, about 3 months rather, 90 days or 3 months to kind of prepare your body physically and also mentally for this journey, because it might be, you never know what this journey might look like. I believe 35 years and under, it's safe to try up to a year before you may seek out medical assistance. And if you're 35 and above or 36 and above, I believe it's recommended to take at least 6 months of trying naturally before seeking medical help. And just a little disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just a mama speaking from experience. And so these are where my tips are coming from. So I'd say, just in the first place, just be kind to yourself mentally. It might be a long journey or it might be a short journey, but just be kind and enjoy the journey as you go about doing this. So the first thing, one of the important things, of course, that I believe we did was just timing of intimacy, timing of when to have sex. I think number 1 is make sure as the woman to be tracking your cycle. When does your period start? When did your period end? In order to kind of gauge what your ovulation period is, because it's like you have your period this one time, and then you have a short break, short window, and then you ovulate, whatever that may be. And it varies for so many people. I know some people usually throw out the number day 14 is when people ovulate. It differs. For some women, it's day 12. Some women, it's day 14. It varies. So do not be stuck on that, because I remember when I conceived our son, my doctor actually said we conceived him. I ovulated much earlier than I even estimated. And so you never know. And so I think tracking your cycle is really important. You can use an app or just mark it down on a calendar, on your phone, whatever it may be. Another key thing too is just to monitor your cervical mucus, the fluids that come out of your privates. That's really important. Actually, that's a key part in conception, because that's kind of what helps to kind of transport the sperm all the way up through your cervix. This mucus is really important, and just kind of observe that texture wise. There's so many videos out there that can give you details of, fertility and cervical mucus. That's something I had to learn when we started trying to conceive. You may also purchase ovulation kits. They're really important. As soon as you're done with your period, maybe every other day or so, I remember my doctor was saying after my period was over at day 10 or so, that's when my gynecologist, I believe, recommended that I should start trying to see if I'm ovulating. And so that's something else that you can purchase if you want, but I'd say the most natural way is just observing your cervical mucus. When it comes to intimacy and having sex and stuff, I would say daily. You don't need to be intimate like 4 times a day or anything like that, but just daily. And if you can't, if not possible, then maybe every other day, because you never know when you're gonna ovulate. I thought I ovulated much later, and then my doctor tells me, oh no, you actually conceived around this time. So that meant that I actually ovulated earlier than I was even guessing. And so you never know. Don't say, oh, I'm gonna definitely ovulate on day 14 or something like that. You miss out on your fertile window, which may have been earlier, because that's actually what happened to my husband and I the first time we tried to, when we said, okay, we're gonna try and conceive that first cycle. I think I totally missed my ovulation period, my fertile window, because of that. And so be cautious and be cognizant of that. And just a little background on my conception story, my journey to motherhood. my husband and I decided we're going to start trying. And the first cycle, like I said, I totally missed my fertile window, and so we didn't conceive. And in the following cycle we did conceive. However, that pregnancy ended up in an early loss, unfortunately. And so I went through that, and then about a month or so later, my doctor cleared me and said you were good again to try to conceive. And so to God be the glory, that following cycle, and my cycle returned again, I was able to menstruate, and then we were able to conceive that following cycle. And to God be the glory, that's the son that we have now, our baby boy, who's 10 months old. And so that's just a little bit of background story on me. The second thing that I was intentional about and that I did was nutrition. And I'm going to do a separate video, complete separate video that details what my nutrition looked like, because I think that played a key role in my conception. I'm not saying that eating these things made me get pregnant, but because it was such a huge part of my conception journey, I want to give credit to it. But at the end of the day, it's God's plan and God's will. Something I was doing a whole lot of was juicing. And so, and I included like vitamin C fruits and things like that, like kiwi and grapefruit and orange, and those kinds of things are really important. Another thing too that I included in my juicing was turmeric. Turmeric is really a great thing. And also I believe turmeric is great for fibroids, because I have fibroids. And I think that was another key component that I was advised to include in my diet. And I was putting that in my juices. Flax seeds was another thing I included in my juices. I was also drinking grapefruit juice. And I believe that also helps with the texture of your cervical mucus. That was one of the reasons why I was also consuming a lot of grapefruit juice and including that in my juices, or just drinking it regularly and stuff like you would drink orange juice. Another, when it came to breakfast and snacks, I included things like nuts and eggs, which contain choline. I believe it's the egg yolk that has choline, which is really, really important for your baby's development, to have that in your system. I was consuming Greek yogurt with chia seeds, and that also with the chia seeds, I believe would help me with my fibroids as well, if I recall correctly. And when it comes to meals, mixed greens, spinach, I included in my diet because I'm anemic. So one thing I was advised was to include kind of organs, animal organs in my diet. So like liver and heart, those are things I would actually kind of cook that up and include it in my meals, or like my salads. Rather than having chicken, I'll just include that. Some people that's gross for them, but for me, I think they're delicious. So I included those in my diet, and that helped me with my iron intake as well. And cassava, we call cassava in Sierra Leone, but I know some other places of the world it's called yucca root. So cassava root was also something that I ate, and I know that a lot of people give credit that it helps with fertility. But like I said, I'll have a separate video whereby I'll go in details about nutrition and diet. The third thing would be supplements. So if in case you can't get all these the nutrition from your foods, I would say have some supplements. Of course, the number one thing is having prenatal vitamins. For me, I took 1-a-day vitamins, and that was really helpful. It has a lot of things, but because I'm deficient in some things, I actually would take additionally to this prenatal vitamins, I would also take vitamin D, because most people, melanated people like myself, most Black people, were deficient in vitamin D when you live in the Western world. And then vitamin C was another key thing. As I said, I included vitamin C fruits when it came to my juices, but also I was taking vitamin C and also iron because I'm anemic. And so I've taken iron supplements since I think I was in high school, when I learned that I was anemic. So those are key things. And so for yourself, find out what is it that you might be deficient in that can help you, that you may need to supplement. Fourth thing is, I would say just research and learn. Like for me, I know I listen to a lot of fertility podcasts. One of the biggest helpers for my journey podcast that I listened to was Fertility Friday with Lisa Hendrickson Jack. She is amazing. I love how she just breaks down things. And so I had a long commute to work. The drive to the mine site, it was an hour and a half. And so 3-hour back and forth round trip. And so I would listen to a lot of Lisa's podcasts on Fertility Friday. I highly recommend you listen to that. She just breaks down so many great things. And she's all about knowing these vital signs of our bodies, like just natural ways when it comes to conception and understanding your body as a woman in general. Those things are really, really important. On YouTube as well, I watched a lot of videos. Someone whom I'd recommend is Octavia Steen. She has so many videos on how to get pregnant, conception, and I love that she shares so many details about fertility journey. And then I'll just say read and learn whichever different methods, read articles, though that can be very, very helpful. The fifth and final thing, which is very, very, very important, is also for me as a believer, it included prayers and scriptures, just trusting God, because this might be a long journey or it might be a short journey, as I mentioned earlier. So just really relying on God to kind of see you through this time. It's something that can be draining in some ways sometimes mentally. I know there are certain times that I got discouraged. I remember when we went through the loss, that was really heavy. It was really heavy on my husband and me. And so having to just kind of have God by our side and trust God that He'll help us out. So prayers and scriptures were really, really important for me. Three scriptures that really helped me out was one was Psalm 127 verse 3, which is, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward." And then another one for 1 Samuel 1:27, "For this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted me my petition that I made to Him." And the third one is Psalm 37:4, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." So these three scriptures were really, really helpful to me. Another one was Philippians 1:6, "He who started this good work in you will bring it to completion." And so I held these scriptures near to my heart. I recited them, I meditated on them, and just prayed and trusted God that He'll grant us a baby and bless us with a baby, because for many years I've always desired to be a mom, and I trusted God in that. So just take these advice, and maybe these might be able to help you. Good luck on your fertility journey. I'm praying for you. Bye.